Hello, and thank you for taking time this weekend to join us here on KREM 2 News. I'm Cody Proctor, and this is the KREM 2 News Week in Review. We know life gets busy, and it can be tough to keep up with all of the news. So let's get you updated on some of the headlines from this past week.
And now, if the school district doesn't follow state direction about gender policies, they stand to lose close to $137 million worth of state funding. That's about 80% of the district's budget. Now, this is all according to stats from the district's Citizens Guide to Budget. Now, that was presented there on Monday at that board meeting. Now, earlier this week, the Mead School Board asked for community input on its proposed policy amendment to the inclusion of transgender athletes in school sports, more specifically women's sports. Now, the proposed amendments require transgender students to get administrator approval to use the bathroom of preferred gender identity. It also says that students are not allowed to room on overnight trips based on preferred gender, and it would restore power to parents to be made aware of their child's gender identity without permission from the student. Since February, the Mead School District has been trying to balance finding middle ground on the state laws and federal policies to avoid losing funding from either one. To break it down, the school district gets around $137 million from the state, like I mentioned earlier, and on the other hand, they get close to $9 million from federal funding. Parents and community members on both sides showed up to speak about these proposed changes and how they will impact students throughout the district.
That a student cannot randomly declare to be transgender and gain access to locker rooms and bathrooms. There is a clear process and guidelines that must be followed. The district is already doing their job to protect non-transgender students. The board should be working on meeting the state requirements and then creating and improving policies that would benefit our entire community, not further excluding a minority group that I guarantee you already feels excluded and discriminated against.
But I just felt compelled to speak at the last minute when we had some speak from the other side, because I obviously am in support of what the district is trying to do. This is really about a safety and fairness. And so when you talk about equity and all, it has to be equity for everyone and all those things, but we want equity for our girls too. And that is a big part of the population, a larger part of the population that is not being treated fairly about sports, safety, and fairness.
While the details of each policy are very specific, the board says it will continue to ask for public input before sending a final version of the proposed amendments to the Office of Superintendent of Public Instruction for review. The board says it will revisit these amendments and take further action in April. At Monday's meeting, the board said it currently delegates authority to the Washington Interscholastic Activities Association to determine how students can participate in athletics. Currently, the WIAA ruled that participation in athletics is based on gender identity. However, Mead, along with other school districts across the state, have called for an amendment to this rule. Now, the WIAA is set to vote on the proposed amendments changes, which would limit participation to participation in girls' sports to biological women, and would ask athletic programs to create separate divisions for all students. That way, transgender athletes would be able to participate. In Mead, Christian Garza, KREM 2 News.
Hagedon Hospitality is adding to the Coeur d'Alene Resort, breaking ground this morning on Sherman Tower. If you think Coeur d'Alene, the word resort probably follows, with its point of pride presence on the lakefront. So its expansion on First and Sherman could be called downtown's up and coming landmark. Hagedon Hospitality broke ground on Sherman Tower Wednesday. The 15-story hotel will add 139 Lakeview guest rooms. Resort President Bill Regan says they're often full and turn away visitors daily during peak summer season.
I think what we're going to see in terms of additional guests coming to Coeur d'Alene is going to be significant. There's a lot of groups that we couldn't go after because of the size. Now we'll be able to go after those.
Sherman Tower is also expected to elevate hospitality with a lobby cafe and lounge and Mexican seafood and steak steak restaurant. A rooftop bar may also draw in guests and locals alike.
It's still a fragile business community downtown, and to bring these people downtown on a year-round basis is going to really help all the businesses thrive.
A 2021 Northern Idaho tourism report shows direct travel spending in the area reached nearly $1.5 billion. That generated $11 million in local taxes. Coeur d'Alene Resort says the tower will also lead to more jobs. Tourism accounts for 9% of all employment in North Idaho.
And just infuse the corridor with more people shopping and dining.
The Hagedorn Group originally tried to build the tower on the resort grounds in the 90s.
And then we tried again to build it over by the plaza, but this is the right location for it.
Third time, maybe the charm this city soon calls its crown jewel.
And I truly believe this is going to put Coeur d'Alene on a new path.
The Sherman Tower is expected to open May 2027. Shannon Mowdy, KREM 2 News.
As we go to break, here's a check of your weekend forecast. Welcome back to the KREM 2 News Week in Review. Before we get back to this week's headlines, we want to remind you that you can get the latest news and weather forecasts anytime you want on KREM 2 Plus. It's our streaming app you can watch on your TV, and best of all, it's free. We hope you'll check it out, but now let's get back to the weekend review.
The arena being packed with fans. Quite a few will be watching the game from their home. The women's NCAA tournament is bringing quite a draw, and Spokane police say they're ready to keep people and drivers safe.
It's the calm before the storm outside the more than 10,000 seats Spokane Arena. The venue's seats are expected to fill to the brim this weekend ahead of the NCAA women's basketball tournament, and Spokane police are preparing for it.
It's such a big, high-profile event. I mean, the tournament every year is one of the biggest things in the country.
Officer Daniel Strassenberg with Spokane Police says officers are preparing for the thousands of people expected to attend the 4 Sweet 16 games and 2 Elite games in Spokane.
We'll have officers inside the arena, and then we'll have officers handling traffic control on the outside.
On the outside, he says common roads near the arena, such as Howard and Boone, will have officers guiding traffic before, during, and after each game. And he says it's possible those roads people are used to driving on may have to change come game time. That call's made when they see how many cars need a spot to park.
We may only allow people to come out of the arena and go a certain way on Boone. That's the kind of revision that I'm talking about. So people just expect that. It just kind of makes it easier when they're leaving.
Making it easier, as he says, despite what all officers do to prepare for it, overcrowding isn't avoidable.
It's going to get very compact very quickly, especially as the day wears on and we start getting into, Friday rush hour. So people need to give themselves a lot of extra time to get in and out of the parking lots.
Ahead of the rush hour traffic in each game, Officer Strassenberg advises fans come early, stay prepared to wait, and be patient.
They can just do a little pre-planning and give themselves some extra room for maneuver, getting in and out of the parking lots and being aware of how they can get in the arena. It just makes it for a more fun night for everybody.
One security item Strassenberg emphasizes is making sure that people attending have clear bags. Any bag larger than a small clutch or purse has to be clear before entering the arena. He says it's all in the best interest to keep everybody attending safe. Connor McAvoy, KREM 2 News.
A trip to your neighborhood mini mart might cost you more. There's a bill that would add a 10-cent deposit to all bottles and cans, and these nicotine pouches like Zyn, they would start getting taxed like regular cigarettes. Just a couple of examples of what Republicans are calling joy tax. That ticket for a Mariner or Seahawk game, it'd go up $1, along with a ticket for the next must-see music show. The Discover Pass that you need to get into state parks, it would increase from $30 to $45 a year. along with hikes in hunting and fishing license rates.
I've got to look at a list because there's so many examples.
House Minority Leader Representative Drew Stokesbury calls the list troubling, from tacking on a new tax on gun purchases to a move to increase liquor permit costs for banquets and weddings.
You might hear from Democrats that they want to tax wealthy Washingtonians and big businesses, and yes, they are taxing those folks, but they're also taxing regular people too. And I hope that regular people realize how many nickel and dime taxes they'll have to pay, literally taxing the joy out of their lives.
When I think about what taxes pay for, people find joy in having a well-funded public school. They find joy in having services at the local, county and city levels that work, having infrastructure.
Democrats behind the tax and budget proposals say the increases are needed to avoid deep, painful cuts. Senator Mark Elias proposed a 6-cent per gallon gas tax increase this summer and higher ferry rates to help pay for road projects.
In terms of taxing fun, I think what is most fun is where you can get where you need to go efficiently and safely.
Do you have a storage unit? You might have to start paying a monthly sales tax on that unit under another proposal. And speaking of the sales tax, the Senate calls for dropping the state sales tax half a cent. That has not been proposed by the House. All of these tax proposals will be up for debate and part of the budget negotiations over the next month at the Capitol. In Olympia, Drew Mickelson.
Thank you for watching the KREM 2 News Week in Review. I'm Cody Proctor. It's been a busy week across the Inland Northwest, so let's catch you up on some of the stories you might have missed.
Drivers could soon be seeing that change reflected in gas prices. Lawmakers in the House and Senate are both in agreement on a gas tax hike. The question is how much that would actually be. Democratic and Republican senators say their proposed plan would boost the gas tax by 6 cents a gallon up to 55 cents a gallon in total. Car registration fees would also go up by $50 for electric cars and $25 for hybrid cars. In the House proposal, it's an even higher gas tax increase. Representatives want to raise the gas tax by 9 cents a gallon. We asked drivers how they feel about this.
We are going to need some ways to increase revenue, but do we really want to keep choking out the working class people?
I think it's fair because everyone driving cars, any kind of cars, gas, EVs, we are all sharing the roads. So that's something we are all going to use.
We either made cuts to find that $1 billion, or we looked at what we could do to find new revenue, and we chose the latter.
Lawmakers are faced with a $1 billion shortfall in the transportation budget. If this becomes law, it would be the first increase to Washington's gas tax in nearly a decade. The current gas tax sits at 49.4 cents per gallon. The last time Washington saw an increase was in 2016. That was with a 4.9 cent hike. Lawmakers say without these tax increases, road projects would have to be canceled and maintenance work would be delayed.
Well, there's definitely been a lot of energy in the outfield for the Mariners during spring training. The trio of Randy Arozarena, Victor Robles, and Julio Rodriguez, they just seem to have fun every single day down here, but they're also busy trying to get each other better.
This one to the right center field gap. An aggressive swing by Rodriguez there.
We have a really talented group. You know, maybe a lot of people don't want to see it like that, but like that's kind of their opinion, and like I don't really care about that. And I just think that this group has what it takes.
Victor Robles and Randy Arozarena were picked up by the Mariners in 2024. Robles took over as the leadoff hitter. He hit .328 with 4 home runs and 26 RBI in 77 games. Robles credits his teammates for helping him jumpstart his career in Seattle.
Sí, claro, se siente mucho mejor. Sabe, al principio me sentía un poco.
I think, when I first started or when I first got here, I wouldn't say I felt uncomfortable, but it was something new, it was, and luckily for them, they roped me pretty well. They took me in, and, you saw the results in the season. So, being here, starting from the beginning for the season, I'm very excited about it.
Robles, who has played center field, will move to right. Arozarena will be in left with Julio Rodriguez in center. J-Rod thinks this outfield trio could be the best defensive outfield in baseball.
It's going to be a really fun outfield. I feel like we're definitely going to be making a lot of fun plays back there and having fun like playing the game, but I'm really excited, really excited.
Manager Dan Wilson is also excited to see what this group can do on the offensive side.
You know, those guys played so well down the stretch and were a big part of the offense, and you look at, you know, where they are in the lineup, you know, right towards the top of the lineup, and what they brought was energy. You know, they bring aggression to the bases. You know, and I think the aggression on the bases can help the hitter in the box as well. So there's so much that they can do to a pitching staff, to a defense that really sets the tone for the game, and really excited to have that starting day one. That's a big part of our offense.
In Peoria with the Mariners, I'm Chris Egan, King 5 Sports.
Before we wrap up this edition of the KREM 2 News Week in Review, we have one more story you might have missed this past week.
I'm here at Manitou taking a walk.
We're just strolling, just walking.
Oh, preview of spring here.
Yeah, and it looks like a weekend, but it's not.
Oh, it's beautiful.
It's beautiful, yeah. Excellent, we love it.
I'm hoping it'll stay, but I know it won't. I think it's going away in a couple days, so getting it in now.
What are you currently doing?
Just cleanup. We took out some arborvitae that were not thriving. I'm Kevin Kilgore. I'm a gardener too here at Manitou Park. With the good weather, we're trying to get outside and get the beds cleaned up from the winter and the festival, the light festival we did this winter. I like the cleanup in the spring, actually. It seems like it would be not so fun, but it's just, you know, kind of like the rebirth of the garden. I got out of the Air Force and really had no direction, and being a homeowner, that's how I got started in this. We're in the middle of getting plant material in and transplanting into our flats, doing bare root transplanting also. Currently, I've got about 2 or 3 people working. Greenhouse and Duncan, and they're amazing. If it wasn't for them, we'd be in trouble. It's nice to get everything looking good and just ready for planting. We're still shooting for mid-May.
Good work. Seek.
Today we want to introduce you to the Spokane County Sheriff's Office newest canine. This is Canine Hattie and her handler, Detective Roman Meyer.
Seek.
From my perspective as the sheriff, it is a great opportunity for us to have a resource in this community to not only help us combat people who are preying on children and people who are trafficking individuals, but also have a canine inside the department that can help people deal with trauma, stressful situations.
We went to training about 5 months ago. They had about 25 dogs roaming around the conference, and one thing led to another. Started asking some questions, started going to their classes, and kind of decided that that's something that we need to have in our department. Good girl. There is a chemical that gets put on all of those components that prevents them from overheating. The acronym, the short name for it, is TPPO. She goes after it. So anything that contains or stores data, so micro SD cards, SD cards, thumb drives, cell phones, computers, laptops, anything of that sort is something that she will alert to and is trained to alert to. Hey, show me. Yes! Sit. Just a cell phone thrown into the bushes. Stay. We're looking forward to getting to work and getting out there and finding devices, helping bring suspects to justice and save children and save all the victims out there.
Thank you for joining us for the KREM 2 News Week in Review. Keep it here for more news and weather updates throughout the weekend. I'm Cody Proctor. Thanks for watching.